The opinions made in this video do not necessarily coincide with that of Imaginary Goddess, or anyone else for that matter. Viewer discretion is advised.
Guys, Pinwheel of the Mercenary King here for a part 2 of the Stride episode. I might even devote this to 2 different Stride episodes, as well. There's a lot of Strides to cover, and I'm actually going to have to beg your forgiveness a little bit, as I do not have all the Strides. I simply have the Strides I want for some of these clans. Also, with the case of Bermuda, especially, some of these Strides that they have here are very specific to decks I just don't run. I run a generic build and a harmony build, and in fact my generic build uses a lot of harmony cards. I don't have duo and I don't have prism. I just never really had the desire to build the deck because I'm actually very happy with the card named Bermuda Princess Lina. It was very archaic. Now, like I said before, any corrections that I have to do I'll take care of at the end of it, as well as cover a cover what your G zone should look like for every clan based on certain criteria. And so what I'll do right now is I'm going to cover what I have of Bermuda, and then I will talk about what's out there. So first off, we have one of the first Strides for Bermuda to be released. That's Legend of the Glass Shoe Amoris, Cinderella some people call her. When this unit is placed on Vanguard, choose 2 rearguards and return them to hand. Pretty simple. Then we have Fluffy Ribbon Somni. When this unit attack hits a Vanguard, choose a rearguard, return it to hand. Choose a card from hand, call it a rearguard, that gets plus 3k. Also, some of their Strides are ridiculously expensive. Like, one of the most expensive cards in the game is their Stride Olivia. So, that's why I don't have it. By the way, this card's good for multiple attack-based decks, because if you can get all the columns to have the possibility for multiple attacks, you're actually in pretty good standing. Lastly, we have Lucky Rise Elprina. Soul Blast 1, choose up to 2 of your rearguards and return them to your hand. Lastly, we have a pretty simple, she's just good. She's a non-act. I like her a lot. When this unit, once per turn, yep. When this unit is placed on Guardian Circle, this is Sailor's Medley Nasha. If you choose one card from your hand, reveal it. If you have a unit with the same grade as that card, that unit gets plus 5k. Also with Bermuda, you'll find that they just announced all the cards for a certain set, and well, yeah, I'm going to cover those just for you guys. Like, I couldn't really cover all the Fires Collection stuff because there was just too much at the time, and we didn't know enough about it. But with this stuff, the cards have actually been released, so I can talk about it without making a fool of myself, which is always a fantastic position to be in. Excuse me. So the first thing we have is the great rare for the next Bermuda set, and that's Celebrate Voice Loris. Her art is choice. Her wedding SP is choicer. She is Generation Break 2, Counterblast 1, and flip over a G-Zone card. Choose up to the same number as face-up cards in your G-Zone and return them to hand. Same number of rear guards and return them to hand. When this unit attacks a Vanguard, if all of your units in Harmony, choose 3 of your units, they get plus 5k. And this unit gets a critical. She ain't bad. The problem is that her abilities kind of contradict themselves, in the sense that you're returning cards to hand, but at the same time you get power for all your units being in Harmony. So really, you're just going to have to decide on how that'll go about for you. Just a second. Whoop. There we go. That's brighter. However, I do like her ability. And I think that even though I don't think she'll hit the Olivia level, I think she will certainly be a valuable card to have. The next one we have is Duo Absolute Sister Mir. I don't have a Duo deck or a Mir deck. This is actually a promo that hasn't come out in the US yet. Soul Blast 1. If you have a heart with Mir, choose 1 rearguard with Duo and return it to hand. Search for 1 card with Mir in the card name, put it into hand, shuffle deck. Then choose 3 cards from hand, reveal them. If you reveal 3 cards and all of them have the same name, Search your deck for one more mirror card, put it into your hand, shuffle your deck. And this is all for a Soul Blast. It's pretty nice for the mirror subclan. Well, not subclan, archetype. I don't know what you'd call it. Same thing as what Alfred is, basically. And so, let's see here. Choose a face down card from your G zone, turn it face up. This is, sorry, Flying Mermaid Frederica. When this unit attack hits a Vanguard, you may pay the cost. If you do, choose up to one of your rearguards in Harmony, return it to hand. Choose one card from your hand, call it to rearguard circle. Choose one of your rearguards until end of turn. If this unit is in Harmony, this unit gets plus 5k. This is actually a really great card because you can actually use that to get a whole bunch of combos off with your Harmony cards. As well as draw cards, look top 5 for a grade 3, gain power, you know, all kinds of things you can do there. Let's see, the next one is Frontier Star Coral. She's part of the Coral series, which is very popular. Counterblast 1, choose a face down card from your G zone, turn it face up. When this unit attacks, you may pay the cost. If you do, Soul Charge 1. Choose up to the same number of rearguards as the number of cards in your soul with Coral in the name. It's in the soul, by the way. So it's like 3, mostly, because you go 0, 1, 2, 3. I'm sorry, 0, 1, 2. This unit gets plus 5k for each unit returned. Sorry, choose up the same numbers as soul, return them to your hand. This unit gets plus 5 for everything that you did that to. Let's see here. If the number of face-up cards named Frontier Star Coral is 2 or more in the G zone, draw a card, choose 2 cards from your hand, call them the separate rearguard circle. So she's basically an Olivia without the cred, along with the Coral stuff, and do that. Fortunately, you can choose up to, so you don't have to like return your field to hand, but you can really get some power stuff going. As well as multiple attacks. It's really great. I'm really loving this Bermuda stuff. Next is Legendary Prism. Let's see here. It's loading up right now. You know how it is. Sometimes you just have to wait for something to load. Prism Duo Nectaria. She's actually an interesting card. She was I don't have her even though she is in the US, but she was designed to work with both Prism and Duo, and I work with neither. When this unit attack hits a Vanguard, choose one rearguard and return it to hand. If you have a hard card with Prism, choose a card from your hand, call it to rearguard, and that unit gets plus 5k. If you have a hard card with Duo, search your deck for one more card with the same name as that card, return to hand, reveal it to the opponent, put it in the hand, shuffle deck. Pretty simple, works with both decks. However, I don't really feel that she will measure up for a while. The next one is Prism Image Vert. She's actually a really top tier card right now, and she's causing Vert to literally disappear from the market. Hold on. I'm nearly out of space. That's great. So let's see. Limit Break 4. I will see if I can get through Bermuda at least. Choose a face down card named Prism Image Sun Sign Vert from your Z zone. Turn it face up. Choose 3 cards from hand. Discard them, and you'll get those back. By the way, at the end of the battle, this unit attack the Vanguard. If you have a heart with Prism Vert even. If you take it, choose 2 rearguards with Prism in the card name, return them to hand. Put this unit into the G zone face up, choose a grade 3 with Prism in the card name, write it as stand. Let's say you can choose cards that literally let you get 3 drive checks, draw a card, and return 2 other cards to hand. You know, there's all kinds of crazy stuff that you can do here. Let's see here. Who's the next one? Yes, Prism Promise Labrador, Princess Labrador. She's another Stride. She actually came out, again, I don't use Prisms. Choose a face down Prism Promise Labrador from the G zone, turn it face up. If you heart with Prism, choose 2 rearguards until end of turn they get plus 5k. At the end of battle, this unit attacker boosted, you may return it to hand. That's not a bad card, especially if you have to like run perfect shields to defend yourself here. Or get more attacks. Twinkle Happiness Pacifica. Let's see here. She showed up as a promo and as a great rare for Bermuda in the Fires collection. However, I don't use her because I don't run Pacificas right now. Counterblast, and I know, right? This is so weird. It's like also specific stuff. But oh well. Choose a face down card, Twinkle Happiness Pacifica from the G zone, turn it face up. If you have the heart card with Pacifica, choose. My computer ran out. Not computer, my thing ran out of space. But I was talking about Twinkle Happiness Pacifica. Basically, she's Counterblast 1. Turn a face down Pacifica face up. If you have a hardcore with Pacifica, return a rearguard to hand. If you do, search your deck for Pacifica, and then put it into hand once you reveal it. Then reveal 3 Pacificas. If you've got 3 different Pacificas, you get a credit. Boop. Now we're going School Etoile, Olivia. She's actually getting reprinted. Ha 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 ha. Counterblast 1. Flip over a copy of Olivia from the G-Zone. When this unit attacks a Vanguard, if the number of face-up cards in your G-Zone is 1 or more, so in other words, you're at G-Break 2, basically. You have to be at G-Break 2. You may pay the cost. If you do choose 5 rearguards, and if the chosen rear units, up to 5, excuse me, if you have different card names, return them to hand. If 3 or more units were returned, choose 2 cards from your hand, call them the separate rearguards in separate rows. This unit gets critical. Really good card. Now there's a G-Guardian who has not yet come into English, and she is Hand in Hand Leona. When this unit is placed in Guardian Circle, choose a rearguard and return it to hand. Choose a card from hand, call it to Guardian Circle. If that unit has the same card name as a card returned to your hand, this unit gets plus 5k shield. So basically, you return a grade 0 with a 10k shield, summon it out, it gets another 5k, so it's a 15k shield. It's a pretty cool card. That really covers it with Bermuda. I'm afraid I just don't have a lot of resources when it comes to Bermuda Strides compared to some people, simply because I wasn't very lucky with my draws, and honestly, I just never pulled an Olivia. And I don't really want to pay $70 for a card. I'm sure she's dropped those because of the reprint. And honestly, my lack of Lambroses, as you'll see in my Megalon Aquaforce step part, is also similarly deficient, as well as Thavas's. But I'm not too worried about that. I don't really care for the dudes, but I'll certainly talk about them and see what we can do here and show you what I do have. Some cards I just never happen to get, and it's not really anything specific on my part, and you might be like, well, why are you talking about them? Well, it's simply because, I want you guys to understand sort of what's going on here, as well as what options there are, and just one big thing. I want this video or videos, if depending on how they're set up, to be the ultimate, sort of resource for any newbie player. I want a newbie player to be able to say, okay, and then he flicks through, finds the, the Aquaforce or the Bermuda or whatever, and sort of goes from there. I don't think really they'll be used like that, but hey, you never know. I just hope this will be useful to somebody. Right now I'm just pulling up some stuff so I can make sure that there's Christos, there's Socrates, so I must be missing Aristotle. Tidal Boil, Tetraboil, reload. Fun stuff. Sadly, I don't have my usual computer. This would be going by in a flash if it was. Then it would just be, oh, so simple. Oh, so simple. But my computer's dead. That's okay, though, honestly. It's God's will and all that jazz, but it's still bothersome. Tidal Bore, Lambros, Christos, Podromos. And really, I just don't want to find my Ripple deck right now. Alright, let's talk about the cards I have out right now. And then I'll talk about, fortunately, they only have one G-Zone right now. Most people do. Marine General of the Heavenly Scales Tidal Bore. When this unit attacks a Vanguard, if it's the 3rd battle or more, draw a card. Choose one card from your hand, call it to Rearguard Circle. He's a really great card, gets multiple attacks off, especially on a Thavas. He can real easily bring you to a 4th attack, even if you have a bad field. Marine General of Heavenly Silk Socrates. If your unit attacks a Vanguard, if it's 3rd battle of the turn or more, you may pay the cost. If you do this, unit gets plus 5k. Marine General of the Heavenly Silk. Christos. Counterblast 1, this unit attacks a Vanguard. First battle or more. By the way, third battle of the turn or more, pay the cost. Third battle. They have a thing called wave, and so the wave first time only, so this guy is to attack first. And that could mess up some of your attack patterns depending on the various cards. Why is my thing not working right? This working? No? What's the shadow coming from? Oh, wait. Whoop. That's funny. I don't know. I don't like these fluorescent bulbs. They just don't have the spunk that the other ones do. No, wait, that's better. Okay. So basically, you can give 2 units. Well, sorry, all the rear guards in the front row get plus 2k. And third or fourth wave, when this unit attack its Vanguard, draw a card. So you can plus really well. For Maelstrom decks, this is Blue Storm, Martial Dragon, Admiral Maelstrom. Counterblast 1, flip over G-Zone unit. When this unit attack its Vanguard, 4th battle or more, if you have a Heart with Maelstrom, you may pay the cost. If you do, draw a card. Choose 3 of your opponent's rearguards, and your opponent chooses a rearguard from among them for each face-up Blue Storm, Martial Dragon, Admiral Maelstrom, and G-Zone, and retires them. He's a really great card, but because he's on hit, you don't really see him. His abilities really needed to be automatic, and it wouldn't be OP compared to some of the other stuff they put out. I mean, I don't know. Guard Leader of the Sky and Water, Flotia. When this unit is placed on Guardian Circle, if it is the first or second battle of that turn, this unit gets plus 5k. She's a little bit hard to use, but honestly, she's a pretty good egg as these things go. Storm Dominator, Commander Thavas. Then we have choose a face-down card called Storm Dominator Commander Thavas from your G-Zone, turn it face up. Choose one of your rearguards until end of turn it gets plus 5k. This unit can attack from the back row until end of turn. And then it gets G-Break 3, wave 4th time or more. When your unit attacks a Vanguard, choose 3 of your opponent's rearguard, and your opponent chooses 1 rearguard among them and retires them. Funnily enough, you can do this twice, and it combos up with Thavas' ability. Next we have Blue Flight, Martial Dragon, Mithril Coral Dragon. When your unit is wave, 3rd time or more. When your unit attack hits a Vanguard, so anything that's more than the 3rd battle, which is very, very easy. If you have a Heart card with Transcore, your opponent may choose a card from his or her hand and discard it. If she or he does not, you may draw 2 cards. Really great card, but because it requires Transcore, it is a little bit difficult to play these days. Fortunately, it doesn't really have any restrictions on it. Then we have Marine General of the Heavenly Silk, Lambros. $40-50 card some days. Flip over a copy of Lambros when this unit attacks a Vanguard. If it is a 4th battle of the turn or more, you may pay the cost. If you do, choose 2 rearguards, stand them. If the number of face-up cards in your G-Zone is 2 or more, the unit stood, get plus 10k. This is why I sort of said that you can make like Maelstrom automatic and it wouldn't be OP. It's because guys like him exist. And things like Blue Wave, Martial Dragon, Tetra Boil. Let's see here. Generation Break 2, Counterblast 1, flip over a copy from your G-Zone, turn it face up. When this unit attacks a Vanguard, if you have a Heart card with Blue Wave in the card name, which is Tetra Burst and Tetra Drive. What's up with my camera? Why is it so dark? Why? This is what I get. I go unemployed and all the standards go down the drain. There we go. Huh. Anyway, what was I doing? Counterblast 1, flip over, copy. If you have a Heart card with Blue Wave, you may pay the cost. If you do, until end of turn, this unit gets Drive Check -1, and then wave 4th. Choose a card from your hand to discard it, 1 card. At the end of the battle, this unit, your rearguard attack the Vanguard, you may pay the cost. If you do, stand this unit. It's a really dumb card. It is a really good card. It is too good. You might be like, but it's restricted to Blue Wave. Well, both the Blue Wave cards really do work with this unit, even if Tetra Drive just sort of like sits there. Um, but Tetra Burst does work with it, as well as other Blue Wave support. So it's really, they gave it a lot of support. I don't really know why this deck doesn't make more tournaments, because I just have a hard time fighting it whenever it shows up. Then we have Surging Ripple Podromos. This is the Ripple support that nobody ever used. Choose a face-down card called Podromos. Turn it face up. Once you attack, it's a Vanguard. If you have a hard card with Ripple, you may pay the cost. If you do, flip over a copy. Look at top 5. Search for 2 cards with Ripple. Call them to separate rearguard circle, shuffle deck. It's basically more attacks. There's also ways to get even more attacks using the Ripple cards, because I know that there's a crit trigger that does things, as well as a grade 2 that's like a 12k attacker, so you can hit 16k with that crit trigger. Really great stuff. The grade 2 game is really overrated, I feel, but fortunately with the G-assisting and Seabreeze, it's kind of fallen out of favor. Now, most of my best decks don't really rely on G-Break except for to enhance what they already do. So I'm not really affected by it when people just say a grade 2 and rush, but other people were really affected by it because they didn't really think about it, I guess I'll say. Wave third time or more for General of the Heavenly Silk Aristotle. Counterblast 1 when this unit attacks a Vanguard, third attack. You may pay the cost. If you do, choose one of your opponent's rearguard and retire it. Yeah, not much else to say about that, because I don't really have too many strides. The stride deck I put out will be 4 Maelstroms, but even then it's kind of pathetic, and honestly, the Megalonica strides are my weakest set of strides, simply because many of their best strides are so expensive, and I can't justify spending $40 on a single card. I could spending like $25 on a single card, whoo-wee, but not like $40 a piece. And for things like Commander Thavas, it's like $70. So I'm not, it's not one of those things I can get out of pretty easily. Okay, so the next stride, let me just check something. Whoop. Obadiah, Mayread. Alright, I don't have any Mayreads. Whoop. And I don't have any Casiduses. Open a new tab. There we go. I do have all the other ones. Actually, my Grand Blue is doing pretty well. Come on. I'm sorry, I'm just having... I'm not... Ugh. This is a problem when you don't really have a workspace that you can use, like a desk. Get sloppy. Pirate King of the Abyss Blueheart. Choose up to 2 cards from your drop zone and call them the separate rearguards with a unit. This guy's pretty good if you need to kill things and replace them with things like Hollow and Wandering Banshees, that sort of thing, but honestly, he's a one-of in every stride deck. Then we have Loved by the Seven Seas Nightmist, Counterblast 1 if you have a hard card with 7 Seas. In its card name, choose 2 units from the drop zone to separate rearguard, guide or otherwise, and at the end of the turn, retire those units. These actually are really great because you can turn the loss of units into pluses using things like 7 Seas Navigator, or yeah, that's his name, I think. Point is, he's a 7k. When you kill a grade 1 or less, you can replace it with him, as well as the pluses and stuff that you can get out of 7 Seas make it probably the stronger of the 2 decks. But honestly, Night Rose is a very powerful card, and fortunately her supports can be used just about anywhere. Fortunately, you don't have to call 7 Seas cards, but it does require a heart, and there's 2 real cards you play with that, Pleasure-Tin and Night Mist. Yeah, the Break Ride. Both of those are, well, Pleasure-Tin's cheap, but the Break Ride's become a little bit expensive, like $10 or so. Though that might have changed since I last checked. It's Pirate King of Secret Schemes, Bandit Rum. Let's see here. This guy came in the trial deck. When this attack hits the bad guy, choose up to 1 card from your drop zone and call it to rearguard circle. That unit gets plus 2k. Really great card. Generic. does it in a pinch, though I actually prefer Blue Blood to him. Though this is probably the best one. It's King Boo, Ghosty Great King Obadiah. When this is placed on Vanguard Circle, search your deck for up to 3 cards, put them in the drop zone shuffle deck. If 2 or more cards with the hollow ability were put into the drop zone, choose 1 normal unit, so not a trigger, with Ghosty in the card name from your drop zone, call it to rearguard in the same column as this unit. So you get basically a 7k booster and it doesn't die at the end of turn. Can't be a trigger though, more's the pity. Then we have Miss Phantasm Pirate King Night Rose. Counterblast 2, flip over a copy of herself. When this unit attacks a Vanguard, you may pay the cost. If you do, choose 2 cards from your drop zone, call them into separate R in different rows. Basically, you can summon up another column. And if you do it right, you can actually get multiple attacks off this as long as your Counterblast last, which I hope they will thanks to Grenache. She's a really great card. She deserves all the pricing she gets. Really nice, honestly. Good art, too. Then we have Eclipse Dragon Hulk, Deep Corpse Dragon. He's the G-Guard. Put 2 cards from the mill 2 cards. When this is placed in Guardian Circle, we may pay the cost. If we do, gets plus 5k. Really got good generic stuff. However, you have to be careful with them. I have seen people nearly deck themselves out with them, and that's never fun. Anyway, so let's talk about Casitas for a second. He got a Stride and some support. Counterblast 1. Put 3 cards from the top of your deck into your drop zone. If you have a Heart with Casitas, choose 1 card from your drop zone, call it to rearguard circle. And then if you call the unit with Casitas with its card name by this effect, choose a grade 1 or less from your drop zone, call it to rearguard circle, and that unit gets plus 4k. Basically, you can make a 21k column if you summon the Cross Ride, which is the second Casitas to come out, and then like a 6k at least. However, if you summon normal Casitas, summon out a 7k so you can hit that 21. Sweet, sweet 21. Pity it needs a heart card with Casitas. The next one is Demon Sea Queen Married. Now, I didn't really care for her ability, which is why I don't have any of her, but let's see here. Her ability is actually pretty good. Counterblast 1, choose a face-down card from your Z-Zone, turn it face up, and choose a card from your hand, discard it. Choose up to the same number of normal units in your drop zone as the number of face-up cards named Deep Sea Queen Married from your G-Zone, and some of their some of their grades being 4 or less. Call them the separate rearguard circle, increase the unit's power by the sum of the original power of the units called by this effect until end of turn. So basically, you can get, let's say that at max you can get 3 cards. Like the first time you do it, you can only do 1. The second time you can do it like 2 or you can do it 2 or 3 times. Like you can actually spread this out. And if you summon things like Cease Rolling Banshee, you can actually get a lot of cards going, as well as some decent card advantage to make up for the minuses. So you can get like a power of like plus 20k plus on this thing. It's really beefy, really good. However, I don't really much care to use her because I prefer my other things and King Boo, because King Boo is bae. So let's see here. And some of the grades being 4 or less, I don't really know why they added that restriction in there, but I guess it's to prevent people from just calling out entire fields, including like 2 grade 3s and stuff. But whatever. You can summon out as many grade 0s as you want, so Anyway, so let's see here. Yeah. So it looks like the next one's going to be Link Joker, which is all kinds of fun because I don't actually have most of their support. I have the support I want, but I don't have all the support that exists. So we'll see what happens with that. I'm actually going to stop this video here and then bring it up again for the next one. This is actually Stargate in general. Hey guys, Stargate Strides here. With Ben Wheeler, the Mercenary King here, about to go into Link Joker because I don't really have too much of them. Might as well go through them first here. Fortunately, we have online resources. I just never really, Link Joker's kind of fallen out of fashion for me right now. Previously, I used to play them like all the time. But of course, all good things come to an end eventually. Currently just loading some things up so I can not embarrass myself. There's a new one coming out called Flagellate's Messiah. It is a Messiah deck. There's like 3 decks right now that you can play legitimately. And that is Messiah, Starvader, mainly Chaos Breaker Dragon, and the leaders. And there's, you know, quite a bit of question on the leaders. Simply because they're not as powerful as they are. However, they are getting support, and that caused some of their stuff to skyrocket for literally no reason. Alright, that should be all of them. Whew. And honestly, a lot of, like with the Bermuda stuff, a lot of these things are specific to the clan, so they don't always, or to a card, so they're not always available for choice. I guess I'll start out with these guys. Whoop. Genesis Dragon, Judgment Messiah. When this unit attack hits a Vanguard, choose a rearguard in your opponent's back row, lock it, choose 1 lock card, and unlock it. Choose up to 1 lock card. Basically, it's an on-hit lock a back row. Not much, nothing special to them. Then we have Big Crunch. Counterblast 1, choose a face-down card named Nebula Dragon, Big Crunch Dragon, to your G-Zone. Turn it face-up. Number of face-up cards in your G-Zone, and 2 or more, choose one of your opponent's rearguards. Lock all of your unit's rearguards in the same column as that unit, and that unit cannot be unlocked during your opponent's next phase. Basically, it's an Omega locked column. You won't use that for 2 times. He is probably the best stride to have in every Link Joker deck, and I do recommend you have him in every Link Joker deck, as many as you can have. Yes, even in Amnesty builds. Then we have Maximum Nebula Dragon, Maximum Seal Dragon, Counterblast 1. This unit attacks the Vanguard and may pay the cost if you do. This unit gets plus 5k for every lock card until end of battle. Don't use them. Then we have Original Deleter, Agorg. G-Break 2, Counterblast 1. Choose a face-up. Choose one of your rearguards with the leader in the card name, and retire it. If you have a hard card with the leader in the card name, delete all of your opponent's vanguards. Choose 1 rearguard from your opponent's back row, lock it. Your opponent chooses a card from the drop zone, binds it face down, vanish, delete. And if the number of cards in your opponent's damage zone are 4 or more, and the number of face down cards in your opponent's bind zone is 13 or more, you win the game. Yep, it's crazy like that. Link Joker actually has the most win the game things in here. They've got like 2 or 3. Glendios, several different flavors of Glendios, and then Igorg. Death Star Vader Demon Maxwell. Choose a unit in your back row and lock it. When this unit is placed on Guardian Circle, it may pay the cost. If you do, this unit gets plus 5k. You can gain pluses from it, but at the same time, you don't always want to do this simply because they'll be locked during your turn. And unless you have a plan to unlock them, well, you might be in deep trouble. So let's talk about Death Star Vader Chaos Universe. Alright, this guy is Counterblast 1, flip over a copy of itself face up. If you have a hard card with Chaos, in other words Chaos Breaker Dragon, and one other its support, choose up to one of your opponent's open RC. Your opponent chooses a card from his or her hand, puts it face down as a locked card. If your G-Zone has 2 or more face up cards, choose one of your opponent's rearguards and lock it. It's a pretty great card, especially since you can basically lock the front row, your second stride phrase. But at the same time, it does have flaws. It does require a counterblast, and you can only use it twice, and it requires a Chaos Heart, which probably makes it not that bad. Because Chaos Breaker does have to kill things, you can choose to kill things when you unlock them and benefit from it. You can run out of resources, as well as your opponent can just decide, I'm just not going to run anything. Pale Moon is your nemesis. Death Star Vader Quintessence Dragon. This is the Nebula Lord support. I have it somewhere. I just don't want to be bothered to bring it out. Counterblast 1, Soul Blast 1. This unit is placed on Vanguard Circle. If you have a heart with Infinite in the card name, pay the cost. If you do, choose a rearguard in the opponent's front row and back row and lock them. If the number of cards in your damage zone is 4 or more, they become Omega locked. So basically, it's a limit break ability. There are also cards in that use the infinite support, so you can basically break ride at the end of your turn, and you can get 4 locked cards at once. It's pretty gnarly. Death Star Vader, Death Star Vader, Omega Loop Glendios. This guy's pretty crazy. Counterblast 2, choose a face down copy of itself, turn it face up. If you have a hard card with Glendios, your opponent chooses one of his or her rearguard circles for each of your reverse units that are in the rearguard circles, and that's like Lukier reverse, Hayaki Vague reverse, that sort of thing. Puts the top card of the deck into those rearguard circles, face down as locked cards. So in other words, you replace the cards. Choose a rearguard circle to put the top card for each of the reverse units face down as lock cards into those RC. If the number of damage your opponent has is 5 or more, your opponent cannot be unlocked during your next phase. Basically, he sets up for the Glendios win condition. If you have 5 units there, that means that, hey, guess what? You're going to win it. Hopefully. I mean, you could mess it up. Don't mess it up. I can't really be blamed if you mess it up. Then we have Flagellate Messiah. I don't even know. It looks pretty damn impressive, but we don't have any information on it, so I'm skipping it. Genesis Dragon X Helix Messiah. For that one, we have Counterblast 1. She's a face down Genesis Dragon Amnesty Messiah. From your G zone, turn it face up. That's right, it uses another G rare from another set as a cost. You may pay the cost if you do. Choose any number of lock cards and unlock them. If all of your units unlocked with this effect, get plus 3k. Retire all of your opponent's units unlocked by this effect. If the number of units unlocked by this effect are 3 or more, it gets a crit. Basically, it helps you win the game. However, he's sort of like at the end of your resources, so you gotta play it very, not safe, but very wise, and make sure that you're using stuff like Chameleon and stuff like that to unflip damage when you lock it. Otherwise, you will run out of resources. Then we have Genesis Dragon, Trans-Elves Messiah. Generation Break 2, Counterblast 1, choose a face down copy of itself, turn it face up. When it's used placed on Vanguard, if you have a heart card named Messiah, you may pay the cost. If you do, lock all rearguards of all fighters, unlock all locked rearguards other than those. Basically, I'll describe it like this. It makes everything the opposite of what it is. If nobody's locked, everyone becomes locked. If everyone was locked, everyone becomes unlocked. That's basically what happens here. And it's supposed to benefit you because you're messiahs, and you lock your units, then unlock them. Counterblast 1 with this unit. This is, Genesis Dragon Amnesty Messiah that GRL was talking about earlier. Counterblast 1 with this unit attacks at Vanguard. Choose any number of lock cards from anyone, unlock them, and this unit gets plus 3k for each unit unlocked. If you did 3 or more, this unit gets a critical. Yeah, he's a pretty great card. You do have to unlock 3 units, and sometimes that means unlocking your opponent's units, and sometimes you just don't like that, so you don't do it. Not much else to say about the Link Joker strides. They're all pretty great, and as you can see, they were divided up into camps of Messiah, camps of Messiah, Deleters, and Link Joker. There aren't very many generic ones that are worth talking about, so I'm not going to. So let's move on to D-Police. D-Police actually have quite a bit here. I'm just going to make sure I have all of them, because I think I do have all of them. I've got that. Yeah, I think I've got all of them. So we'll talk about them. Huh. And all the G-Guardians. Legendary Dimensional Robo Daikaiser Leon. His ability is Counterblast 1, flip over a copy. If you have a hard card with Kaiser, until end of turn, this unit gets, when your drive check reveals a grade 3, choose up to one of your opponent's guardians, retire it, and any cannot be hit is nullified. So basically, you swing at the Vanguard. If you get you have potentially 11 checks to hit something that'll trigger him. And honestly, if there's still 11 checks in the Vanguard at this late in the game, you're going to hit. And then basically you pierce, you hit, you restand with Laurel, you kill him. That's how you do it. This is how we do it. This is how we do it. Super Cosmic Hero X Phoenix. Counterblast 1. At the end of the turn, this unit attacked a Vanguard if this unit's power was 335,000 or greater. This attack did not hit. You may pay the cost if you do draw a card. Really great card. If you know your opponent has perfect shields, ride this guy. Or ride this, stride that guy. Or somebody else. You know, there's a lot of options that you can do here for it. You just have to make sure you get the right one. Honestly, I run a pretty big variety for my Metalborgs, and I do include like 3 of those units. Then we have Heavy Metalborg Heavy Duke. Counterblast 2 when this unit attacks a Vanguard. This unit attack hits, draw a card for each of your heart cards, and then so in other words up to 2. So when Legion. Then if you have a heart card with Metalborg, until end of battle, your unit cannot call grade 1s or greater. So basically, when you Sin Buster, and let's say they survive, you can basically come back with this guy and he's like, okay, let's try this again. Really great card, because they're almost guaranteed to be out of zeros by the time you swing again. Then we have 99th generation Dimensional Robo Commander Great Direth. Counterblast 2, flip over a copy of itself. If you have a hard card with Dimensional Robo, so in other words Kaiser, or anyone else, search your deck for 1 grade 3 and grade 2 with Dimensional Robo, call them the separate rearguards, shuffle your deck. If the number of face-up cards with Dimensional Robo in the card name is 2 or more, it gets a crit. So basically if you do this twice, you get a critical. However, doing it twice isn't always recommended because that's 4 counterblasts you can't use on other things. SP. But honestly, it's a great card, and I really wish he saw more play. At the same time, he's a really difficult card to use, and there isn't very much unflipping Dimensional Robos, or D-Police in general. This guy is new, Super Giant of Light, Enigma and Crossray. Choose a rearguard and tap it at the beginning of the attack step if your power is 30k or greater. So actually, I think it's just before boost, excuse me. You may pay the cost. If you do, it gets plus 10k. So basically, you get a 40k Vanguard swinging at you. And it can be more. Because Enigmans have a lot of ways to just boost up their power. There's a crit trigger that can like leave the soul for plus 4k, and you can like send it into the soul for plus 4k. There's some really stupid stuff that you can do. You just have to keep your mind open. Then we have Super Cosmic Hero X Rogue. When this unit attack hits a Vanguard, if the power is 37k or greater, draw a card. Your opponent chooses a rearguard to retire. Really great generic. If you're playing like Grand Gallop or something and you're not sure what to play him. And let's see here. Dark Superhuman, Pretty Cat. Counterblast 1, this unit attack is 34k or greater. You may pay the cost. If you do, choose an opponent's Vanguard, minus 5k until end of turn. It's a bit of a meh. I do have her around, but I don't really use her. Super Cosmic Hero X Falcon. Counterblast 2, choose a card from your hand, discard it. When this unit attack hits, and the power is 45,000 or greater, you may pay the cost. If you do, choose an opponent's rearguard, put it face down to the opponent's damage zone. Basically, it's an insta-kill without letting it hit. They released this before the other win conditions that have recently been released, or that damage an opponent directly, just to see how OP it will be. The answer was not at all. Especially when you leave them an out like that. Counterblast 2, Soul Blast 1. This is Dark Superhuman Omega. When this unit is placed on Vanguard Circle, you may pay the cost. If you do, choose a rearguard, put it into your soul. Choose all of your opponent's front row and reduce those power by the original power of the unit put into your soul by this effect until end of turn. Basically, you can minus 11k your opponent front row. It's pretty great. However, he's very costly, so you don't really use him too much. Then we have Super Cosmic Hero X Gallop, or Chi Gallop. Counterblast 1, turn a face down card face up, G break 2. When this unit attack, he's the newest one by the way, triple rare. When this unit attack hits a Vanguard, this unit's power is 35k or greater, and may pay the cost. If you do, it gets an extra drive check. So 4 drive checks is pretty great. If this unit's power is 40k or greater, all your rearguards in the front row get plus 4k for every copy of himself in the G zone face up. He's a really great card. What can I say? He doesn't even require a gallop as a soul, so, as a heart card. So really, there's no excuse in running in 4 of in pretty much every non-metal Borg deck. Then finally, we have Super Cosmic Hero X Tiger, probably one of the most useful cards around. Choose a face down card from your G zone, turn it face up. When this unit attacks the Vanguard, you may pay the cost. If you do, it gets plus 4k for each of your units in the G zone. If it has 45,000 or greater power, it gets a critical. He's a really great game ender, and I'm actually looking for another one just so I can have multiple game enders going. It's like start him out first, pump out a Chi Gallop, so he hits like 2. So you give your rear guards plus 8k. He's a pretty great card. However, good luck finding him, but he's useful in so many different ways. He's just guaranteed to be a one of to play him right. Let's see here. Super Cosmic Hero X Caravo. When this unit is placed on Guardian Circle, if the opponent's attacking unit's power is 30k or greater, this unit gets plus 10k, so it hits 25,000. Then choose a card from your hand to discard it. If you do, choose a Vanguard and it gets plus 4k. So basically you can have a 29k defense and the plus 4k, so making your Vanguard 15k, is permanent. So really great card. I will be running 2 of him and 2 of Enigma Patriot. When this unit is placed on Guardian Circle and your opponent's attacking unit is 20k or greater, it gets plus 5k. Super easy, super breezy. Pretty much guaranteed to be off all the time when you actually need it. Let's talk about Nova Grapplers. Pretty well developed on Nova Grapplers. Let me just make sure here, because you never know. Especially me, I don't always know. I don't even know. No, come on. Why'd you do this to me? I hate my tablet when I'm dealing with the card fight stuff. I don't know why this thing doesn't work so well with tablets. I don't understand. I genuinely don't understand why this thing isn't able to use a tablet. Okay, I only missing Ethics Buster Catastrophe. Okay. So let's go Meteor Kaiser Victoplasma. Counterblast 2, choose a copy, turn it face up. If the face-up cards in your G-Zone is 2 or more, that gets drive check -1, and choose 2 cards from your hand, discard it. You can, at the end of this battle, this unit attack the Vanguard. You may pay the cost. If you do, stand this unit, and it's -1 drive check. This ability cannot be used again. What's funny is you can actually, if you have 3 of them, you can go from 0 G-Break to 2 G-Break just by paying it twice. However, that uses up all the counterblasts that you have, so you got to be careful. Then we have Meteor Kaiser Victor. Choose a face-down card called Meteor Kaiser Victor and turn it face up. This unit, until on turn, this unit gets, when this unit attacks its a Vanguard, choose a rearguard and stand it. It gets plus 5k. Really works great just in general, and also activates Victor abilities when you don't ride Victor for some reason. Then G-Break 3, when this unit attacks the Vanguard, choose one of your opponent's rearguards, stands it, and it gets plus 5k. So basically, you can have an on-hit and an on-command both at the same time, and with Victor, you can actually counterblast, and you can stand up 2 just because you can if you're at G-Break 3, and then on-hit, stand something else. Pretty great card. Meteor Kaiser Bustard. Counterblast 1, choose a face-down card from your G-Zone, turn it face up. When this unit attacks, you may pay the cost. If you do, choose the same number of rearguards and number of face-up cards called Bustard in your G-Zone and stand them. If 2 or more units were stood, you have 5 rearguards. Until end of turn, this unit gets Counterblast 1. Choose 2 cards from your hand and discard them. At the end of the battle, you may pay the cost. If you do, stand this unit and it gets -2 drive checks until end of turn. Really great card. It's a restander for Nova Grapplers, and it can actually do a lot of damage, especially when you start really restanding some things. However, he is a game finisher, and I can't guarantee. I don't know. He doesn't always work as described, especially if your opponent is in a good position. Honestly, this guy works a little bit better, but only because this guy is a little bit too late in the game. These guys are about the same timing, but G-Break helps him a lot more than it helps him. Though technically you can use this all at once if you don't mind spending 1, 2, three, yeah, three counter blasts all at once. Um, so really, they probably recognize what I just described with this. However, I still think he's missing the mark just a little bit, as you do need to run damage on flippers. But fortunately, Nova Grapplers has plenty of those lying around. Medio Kaiser Vic 10 on hit. Choose one of your rear guards, stand it plus 5k. Easy breezy, simple, beautiful. Cover girl. Medio Kaiser Tribute, Tribrute. Counterblast 1. The unit was rearguard was stood to the effect of one of your cards. In other words, Victor. You may pay the cost. If you do, that unit gets plus 2k. Choose one until end of turn, and then choose one of your opponent's rearguards with power less than or equal to that unit's power, and retire it. And if it's a 9k hitting 11k, well, that's just guaranteed you can retire anything. Run them as a one of in every deck. Then War Deity Asura Kaiser. Choose a grade 3 from the drop zone, put it into the top of the deck, shuffle deck until end of turn it gets. When your drive check reveals a grade 3 card, any card, and you have an Asura Kaiser in the heart, then you can choose 4 of your rearguards and stand them. Funnily enough, I do run him simply because I can help myself not deck out so fast. And besides that, getting a grade 3 when I need to stride later in the game is fantastic. Then we have Righteous Superhuman Blue Prism. When this unit is placed on Guardian Circle, and the number of face-up cards in your damage zone is equal to the number of cards in your opponent's equal or greater to the cards in your opponent's damage zone, this unit gets plus 5k. They really could have done something better with him, but they didn't. However, a 20k shield when you're basically bad off or just the same as your opponent is a great card. Lastly, we have Ultimate Beast Deity Ethics Buster Catastrophe. Choose a face-down card from your G-Zone, turn it face-up. If you have a heart with Beast Deity, and the card name this unit gets, when your drive check reveals a grade 1 or greater Beast Deity, choose one of your rear guards and stand it. If you have 2 or more face-up cards called Ultimate Beast Deity Ethics Buster Catastrophe, this unit gets plus 3k. Basically, you can do it twice. Technically, you don't have to flip over a Mutant Beast Deity, but you should, at least to get the 2 going. And then for the 3rd and 4th stride of Catastrophe, you don't have to really do that because you want to give things plus 3k. He's a really great card. However, BCDs are a little bit difficult right now, but they have some really great abilities, and I hope to see them more in the future. It's less heavy as Victor, but it does the same thing a little bit better. Alright then, I'm going to end this and go for Mega Colony. Alright guys, Mega Colony. Mega Colony actually has I have all the strides for Mega Colony, so I'm pretty happy about that. There are one stride I don't have right now, and that's Waspy Tail, but I'll describe her in a little bit. There's a set coming out, and we'll be actually receiving some information about that once they get the Bermuda stuff out of the way. So first off, we have Evil Armor Mutant Deity Goliath. This was an ill-attempted Jirafa support card. Counterblast 1 if you have a heart with Jirafa in the card name. Choose 6 units with Jirafa. Until end of turn, they get, during your turn, all of your units' opponent's vanguards are tapped. This unit gets plus 5k. When this unit hits a vanguard, choose one of your opponent's rearguard, and that unit cannot stand during your opponent's attack phase. So basically, you can give plus 5 to a field of Jirafas, and then on hit, they stun something. The problem is that there are basically your deck will have 4, 8, 12. There will be 12 Jirafa cards in your deck if you're running full Jirafa build. That's not good. It is not good at all. And so the odds of using this card effectively, I tried, didn't really work out. Oh well. Next up, we have Machining Destroyer. Counterblast 1 Machining. If you have a heart card with Machining in the card name, choose an opponent's rearguard, and that unit cannot stand it. If the number of rearguards you have with Machining are 4 or more, choose an opponent's vanguard, and it cannot stand. Basically, for a full field and a counterblast, you stun the opponent's vanguard once per turn for 4 turns. It's a good card. It's a really great card. It's a pity it only allows Machining. Then we have Force Spear Mutant Deity Sunbeetle. Counterblast 2. Choose a face-down card with the same name. Turn it face up. When this unit attack hits a vanguard, pay the cost. If you do, all of your opponent's vanguards cannot stand, and your opponent cannot ride over it. You can ride by card effect, but honestly, there isn't too much of that going on here. Like Pledgeton's one of the few ones, and others require you to be at grade 2. So, you know, it's kind of hard to do, and sometimes you have to minus yourself pretty bad for it, whether in counterblast or cards. However, this guy's really great. Letting him hit, swinging with him is a guaranteed perfect shield, and using your G Guardians means you can attack him from the first stride. He's just beautiful, fantastic. Then we have Wildfire Mutant Deity Struggle Dipper. Counterblast 1, turn a face down card face up. Choose 3 units until end of turn they get plus 1k for every tapped unit on your opponent's field, which can be up to 7k. So you can give a column plus 17k because the unit includes Legion as 2. So if they Legioned, well, that's just gravy. With a full field, it's fantastic. Don't run too many of him. However, he is a really great card, gives out a lot of power, and 16k, you know, can't intercept Toxic Trooper can do a lot of work for you with this guy. Then we have Devastation Mutant Deity Jagged Devil. Let's get jagged with it. When this unit attack, it's a Vanguard. Choose a Rearguard in the front and back row, and those units can't stand. Pretty good. Only want to run 1 or 2 of him as backups when they don't let you use Parasphere. When this unit, probably the most useful stride that's ever been invented for anyone. When this unit is placed on Vanguard, tap all of your opponent's units. If the number of tapped units is 3 or more, draw a card. This unit gets plus 5k. Basically, it makes sure that if you have any cards that require your opponent to be tapped, those go off, guaranteed. It gives you a card, so you make up for the fact that you had to discard a card to stride, and it gets plus 5k, so you don't need a booster. This guy is the greatest. Finally, we have Dream Mutant Deity Scarabgas. Scarabgas? I don't know. When this unit is placed on Guardian Circle, if the number of the opponent's units tapped is 2 or more, so in other words, if they attack you with 1 column, this unit gets plus 5k. And, oh wait, it does include the Vanguard. So the Vanguard can attack with a booster and he gets 20k. Really great card. Not really any flaws. Let's just get that one card we do know about. There's a card called Obdurandus that is not released yet, his ability, but this ability is. It's a triple rare, funnily enough. Though we don't actually know if it's a triple rare. Huh, okay. Soul Blast 1, choose a face down card from your G zone, turn it face up. Lost your deals ability. When this unit attack hits a Vanguard, you may pay the cost. If you do, choose one of your opponent's units, and all of your opponent's rearguards in the same column and row cannot stand during your opponent's next stand phase. So you choose a rearguard in the back row on the side, and then basically your opponent's back row and 1 front row cannot stand. That's 4 units. Really great card. A lot of great abilities here. I hope to be able to use her to great effect. Alright, that's it for Mega Colony. Let's move on to the many, many, many Dragon Empire strides.